if if diplomacy were decided by penalties, no, by soccer or football, what would that look like? This is my diplomacy cup. Brief little digression before I get into what I think. But meanwhile, you guys think about it. If certain countries faced other countries, what would the prize be should they win? Do you know what I'm saying? Is it reparations? Do they have to eat their other country's national food for a month? What do they do? But a little digression, the World Cup's being held in Qatar, and I talked about this a bit last week. And I'm seeing two things simultaneously. I think, one is it's pretty dope that it's being held in the Middle East for the first time. The World Cup, obviously, the Middle East is like hugely popular in terms. I mean, soccer's so big there, and also you have a major contradiction, right? You have huge crackdowns on freedom of speech in terms of people with rainbow flags or armbands that express solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community, journalists who want to film things. There is a total information crackdown happening in Qatar right now. And then at the same time, you have all these like Palestine freedom flags, right? And there's people who are like advocating for Palestinian human rights. There's like Israeli television crews trying to like catch people like, what do you think about Israel, and like trying to get folks in like to do anti-Semitism, I guess, or like to be anti-Israel. And they're just seeing a lot of solidarity for Palestine instead, and it's great. And so I think it's really interesting because you're like, usually you might see more support for the LGBTQ plus community and a silencing of Palestinians. Here, you're seeing the opposite. And I think two things can be true at once, right? We can support the fact that it's awesome that the World Cup is being held in the Middle East for the first time. It's cool that like Saudi Arabia, for example, beat Argentina, even though I got pissed at that. It's cool to see Iran, and I have a thought on that, but it's cool it's important and awesome to have this like true international competition over a sport. The shit ain't over nukes. It's over a fucking sport. I love that. And two things can be true. You can have a first time in history cup in the Middle East and have a lot of fucking problems with that country as being homophobic, having all these draconian anti-gay laws, and then kind of being cooler on Palestine. Those things can exist, and we can point them out without being either patronizing or like, for lack of a better term, imperialist or sort of Western centric in our understanding of it. We can be progressively lifting up all of those voices that are marginalized. And I think the one struggle that encapsulates how we can hold 2 or 3 or 5 things at once when it comes to human rights is the struggle for human rights in Iran. And I think the fact that that shit does not come from the United States, that shit does not come from any imperial Western power. It does not come from, of course, not the Ayatollah. It comes from the people. It comes from the people of Iran and the women of Iran who are rising up. And in solidarity, the Iranian national team is refusing to sing the anthem. In solidarity, you have people like my man, I don't know his name, but taking the field during, I believe, the Uruguay Portugal game, running around with a shirt that says "Respect for Iranian women," and he's got a rainbow flag, which the rainbow flag, by the way, in other countries, in Europe especially, is a flag of peace. So here it's LGBTQ plus rights. Over there it's peace, whichever it is. I love it. And so I think no greater struggle can unite us and simmer the bullshit narratives down of your country's this, your country's that, the Middle East is backwards, the Middle East is not backwards, da-da-da-da. Fuck it. Support Iranian women, still carrying the torch for the heinous murder of Mahsa Amini and understanding that we can support human rights, and it doesn't have to play into anyone's narrative. It just is human rights. It doesn't have to play into an anti-Islam agenda. It doesn't have to play into a pro-Western agenda. It just is. It's just people trying to fucking live their goddamn lives. And yeah, I hope y'all listened to the episode we did with Zara Nourbash, who was wonderful, and she's an Iranian-American comedian and had a lot of thoughts on hijab, etc. So that's just the thing I wanted to mention off the bat. But I think, okay, here's my lineups. France v. Senegal. Senegal gets to, if they win, gets to restructure France's economy, because Senegal's economy has been restructured a million times. And restructured always means like, you're going to have to give less to people and more to corporations. So France's economy is restructured by Senegal, and Senegal gets French wine for $1 a bottle. Settled. Australia versus England, if that ever happens, Australia finally gets rid of the monarchy. Just, it's enough, no more. We don't pledge allegiance to the king or whatever. It's done. We're donezo. That being said, if England wins against Australia, King Charles's face has to go on the flag. You can find a place for it. You could like hide it in the in one of the star or the stripes over there. You know how it's like the Union Jack in a larger, the Australian flag looks like one flag is like fucking another flag. Like, I don't get what's happening there. But you got to put King Charles's face on it if England wins. Brazil v. Portugal, obviously, there's a lot of reparations for colonialism that has to happen. There could be bigger reparations here, maybe reparations for slavery if Portugal loses. But if Portugal loses, here's what I think. I think that it has to change the name of its capital, Lisbon, to Lis Brazil. Is that... Anyway, just for like a year. Oh, Lis Brazil. USA versus Japan. If Japan wins, they get to drop an atomic bomb on Mar-a-Lago. Yes, there will be repercussions. It'll probably extend, A-bombs. You can't really control what they're going to do, but it's the least we can do, or they can do, after we dropped a couple of nukes on them. And look, if they win, if they beat the United States, I think it's only fair. Holland versus Senegal. Holland actually was one of the many countries that also colonized Senegal. If Holland loses, they have to finally stop doing Sinterklaas, which is the Black Santa that's like really problematic and weird. No more Sinterklaas, Dutch, okay? You stop it. It's weird. It's fucking weird. And obviously USA versus Mexico. If Mexico wins, open borders, but for like a month, maybe a week. Open borders for a week. Free flow of goods, free flow of people. Just anyone and anything comes and goes. But a 1 week, it's like the purge, but open borders. I mean, obviously, if you're a Republican watching, you already think there are open borders, but there aren't. So, curious to know your thoughts. If Japan wins, Michael Gonzalez says, just replace McDonald's with ramen houses. I would love that. Oh my God. Mick Ramen. Todd Roy says, no more wooden shoes if the Dutch wins, if the Dutch lose. Galfar71, can we cut Florida from the mainland first? Kind of like getting a vasectomy. I love it. I mean, I've been wanting to do that for a while. But let's see. If England wins, kangaroos will riot. Sure. Aussies should get rid of Vegemite. Is Vegemite? It's an English thing, right? I can't remember if Marmite. There's a lot of ites coming out of the UK. We've got Marmite, Vegemite, termite. I don't know what else is a mite, but apparently it's all edible and it sounds disgusting. Stone to the Bone Dragon said, FIFA is just another pawn, an excuse to profit and capitalize. It is, but I really like soccer. It's so fun. It's so fun to watch, and I really like watching it in Spanish, and I love the announcers. I love the goal announcement, the grito. I just like it. And I like watching it. And the players are hot. Okay, I digress. And that, guys, that's been our show. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.